Welcome to episode 7 of hashtag Behind the Bookstore, Sadie's Bookseum twist on Guilt Nobles Like It Is meets James Lipton's Behind or Inside the Actors Studio. We are so elated to be here in honor of Black History Month with the president of the Middletown branch of the NAACP. For those who aren't familiar with the acronym, get from up under a rock. It is the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. Welcome, Gail Jeter, to Sadie's, and thank you for elevating our Black History Month education this month with your presence at our recording.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yes.
And for having our executive committee members.
Yes.
I would like to introduce them if you don't mind.
Absolutely, that was my next step. That in the audience we have an intergenerational vibe of young people in their 20s and then vintage folk that are representing. Yeah, we say vintage here. Everybody loves vintage. Yes.
Well, the gentleman nearest me is Manny Tirado.
Okay.
He is our treasurer.
Welcome.
Sorry, want to say anything? No. Just
I guess
We'll do Behind the Bookstore on Clay,
yes.
and we'll come back
Okay.
there. Yes.
next is Donna
Douglas.
and
Welcome.
she is our vice president.
Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Ashe.
Ashe.
And our secretary,
Chris.
yes,
Yes.
Chris Kelty.
Guilty.
Yes.
Third time's a charm.
It's a weird
Very
name.
important,
Yes.
very
The
important.
minutes, the
Yes.
minutes, the minutes.
Yeah.
And a whole lot of other stuff.
Yes. Okay, welcome. So yes, and we also have fellow Bookseum tribes and community members in the space. And again, for those who don't know, we like to treat this like an intimate literary tiny desk. If you have a favorite musician, the new wave right now, you get in a real cozy spot, you do a full concert with a small audience, but we're doing that around issues of advocacy and books. And so we want to start off honoring the space that we're in and invite you to go a little bit down memory lane. Did you have a bookstore or a library in your neighborhood when you were growing up?
Yes.
Yes, you did?
Yes.
What's your memory about it, whether it was fond or not?
Well, I lived on, they used to call it Mount Morris Park,
Oh.
and the library was just across the street of Mount Morris Park North.
Okay, so you're city folk.
I'm New York
All right,
City.
we're city folks. So Ms.
Initially.
Jeter and I have 3 things in common so far. We're both city folks, right? We both have a maternal figure in our life named Sadie.
Yes.
And we're both Sagittariuses. So who knows where the rest of this conversation will go? Who knows? So one last question to honor the space that we're in before we get really into the NAACP, its history, mission, and how Middletown is going to revitalize the current branch. Do you have a favorite book growing up? Either one that spoke to you or really resonated with you or that you connected with? At any age, a book that really speaks to you or spoke to you.
It's hard to pick one.
You can rattle, it's okay. I give elder privilege. You can say one.
You know something? I'm going to be sarcastic.
Okay.
When we were in elementary school, we had a reader called Fun with Dick and Jane.
Okay.
And they only had white people in it. And it had a little girl, an older brother and sister, and they lived in this one house. We were in apartments. Okay. They had this with the little picket fence, and there was a dog. And even then, when I was in my little apartment, which was my grandmother's house, and it went from the front of the house to the back of the house. My father was in World War II, that I'm telling my age.
Okay.
And with all the family members who were in the service would come to her house when they came back, because they didn't want to go back down south. My mother's side was from Mississippi.
Okay.
And so they would stay with her for a while until they got their own apartments. And this is my memory growing up. Yes, we all lived with my grandmother, but the apartment was so big.
The railroad.
Yes.
Was sort of. And actually, I'm sure at one time it was a apartment with servants' quarters in the back. Then there was a kitchen and the swinging door, and then the about 3 bathrooms. It was huge.
Pre-war.
Pre-war.
Yes,
Pre-war.
yes,
All
yes.
right. Well, we'll chalk it up to there's too many to list, but many books have spoken to you.
Yes.
And fun with Dick and
Yes.
Jane. Well, here at Sadie's, we have fun with Baldwin, Morrison, even
Oh,
Kennedy,
wow.
and Amanda
Yes,
Gorman.
yes.
So shout out to Dick and Jane because they are
Yes.
relevant. We want to include them
They
too.
made
But we gonna have some
me want to
chocolate.
be like them.
Yes. All right. Fair enough. And so at Sadie's, we are not subtle at all about honoring elders and ancestry and culture. And so when we heard that the NAACP, I think I had the first chance of meeting you at the Unity Fair at the Y. And you're walking around with the beautiful purple flyer, which is still up in the window, inviting people to become members.
Oh, okay.
And so do you have a favorite Black history memory? Not maybe necessarily connected to the organization of the NAACP, but just one that sticks out with you that you lived through, that you want to share with those of us who are too young to have lived through it.
Well, I was an educator.
Oh, I have something else in common. Come on,
Oh.
Jeter. We're up to 5 things already. All right.
And during Black History Month, I had the children do research on a famous Black person, but they could not do Martin Luther King.
Hello.
And they couldn't do the ones that everybody
Rosa Parks,
did.
thank you.
So,
Switch it up.
They did people like, oh boy. She was a teacher who worked with children who everybody
Marva
felt.
Collins?
Marva
Yes,
Collins.
Marva Collins. Biography, yep.
The first African American who invented the
clock?
computer.
Oh, and
Chip.
female.
Uh-oh. Not an elder giving me a Black
I
history
can't
fact.
think of his
Listen,
name.
the
With the
first...
microchip?
The microchip?
What
We
was his name?
Oh.
Well, listen.
It was big though. It wasn't a little thing at first.
Well, listen, the first community member to watch this recording to tell us the
There
first
you go.
Black person to create the show, we have a special book for you. So we're going to twist it and make it interactive. So someone's going to come and give us the answer. All right, so as a teacher, just inspiring young people to go beyond
Yes.
the triad legends.
And I
about
made
that
sure
time.
that they were people they did not know ahead of time.
That's beautiful. That's
Yes.
beautiful. And so connected to that, can you tell us a little bit about the history of the NAACP nationally as an organization? I know a little bit, like in 1908, there
Yes.
was a race riot in Springfield that really prompted Du Bois, Ida B. Wells, along with other abolitionists to come together to form it, and it got formed in 1909.
Yes.
But please tell me the rest, because what do I know?
And Martin Luther King was also a member.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Right.
Mhm.
And there were people who gave their lives fighting to keep this dream alive. In fact, there was a couple, and the name escapes me again, who were
House was bombed.
killed on, was that Christmas?
I think Christmas Eve or Christmas Day.
Eve,
Their house was
in
bombed.
their home. The home was bombed,
Wow.
you know.
Wow. And just the commonplaceness of lynchings, which
Yes.
not to take us on a tangent, but I think it's very much connected. One of the things we talk about here in our tour of the space is dispelling this myth of what you learn in public school, that enslaved Africans fled north and they were free. No, sir, no, ma'am. They were enslaved in the north. They were
Yes.
lynched in Newburgh and Port Jervis. That's
Yes,
why Governor Holt
yes.
was putting markers
Yes.
there, right? And so
Yes.
under that same premise,
Yes.
you know, the creation of the NAACP was out of this huge race riot and the commonplaceness,
Mhm.
unfortunately, of
Mhm.
lynching.
And the fact that Orange County had slaves.
Hello. Can you
And
say
as
one more
said,
time for the people that are like, what'd she say?
Orange County had slaves. And in fact, one of our members was telling me about the Dutch having a lot of slaves even in New York City.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and you know what it makes me think of? Not to take on a tangent, but one of the New York Historical Society, that's one of the museums that's still there. They had an exhibit, and of course it was there for 2 minutes, just like Origins and Middletown AMC Galleria. Slavery in New York.
Yeah.
And it was a
Wow.
whole exhibit that was disrupting the narrative that, again, that enslavement did not exist in the North. And so we have this in our shrine. If you haven't seen this book, I don't even believe they're really publishing it anymore, but come peruse it and see for yourself that Miss Jeter is not lying. Is not lying. Yes, okay, lovely. And so that's a little bit of the history nationally. Can you tell us locally, like when we think about Orange County and the NAACP, or even more concretely, Middletown, that now has a branch that's going to be revitalized?
Well, actually, I'm not originally from Middletown or Orange County. The revitalization
Yes.
of the branch was something that I felt was so necessary because I actually ran for office up here.
Okay.
And I would go into local government buildings and look for somebody who looked like me. Not literally look, but if you look in the offices and you don't see anybody who looked like you, then you sort of wonder because the town is pretty diverse.
Yeah.
Where am I?
Yes. And here I is.
Yes, and as an educator, I know that children like people, to see themselves, and it gives them a cause to want to be a doctor,
Yeah.
or want to be an attorney, or
Yeah.
want to be a politician.
Yeah, like one of my favorite memoirs, Finding Me by Viola Davis, when she was on her tour, she was like, I cannot be what I cannot see, right?
Oh,
And so like
wow.
seeing someone in those positions and offices
Exactly.
allows you to imagine
Exactly.
possibilities.
And you don't see that in the classrooms
Yeah,
anymore.
now,
I mean, I did it,
yeah.
but I was a little bit of a rebel, so.
Oh, that's a separate interview, so we won't get to that now. All right, so when you're thinking about revitalizing, Middletown branch is 2156, and we're going to get into B. Sorry, thank you. Emphasis on the B, and we're going to get into how to become a member. But can you talk a little about why revitalizing it now? Like, was there a catalyst for it? Did something happen in current events? Like, why now?
Okay. For me personally, I have a husband in a nursing home.
Okay.
And I found out after being involved that the county
Okay.
legislature runs
Yes.
it. So I would go to meetings and see what they were not doing for the nursing homes.
Yes.
And I said, enough is enough, because I complained to elected officials, I complained to others, and in fact, one official told me, well, they were voted in. And then I go to the meetings and see that these same people voted raises for themselves. They came in maybe, 5 times a month. They had health insurance paid for by us. They had retirement plans paid for by us. And you can vote your own raises. Isn't that wonderful? Beautiful.
Sarcastically.
Yes.
Beautiful. And one of the things that you're raising as a point, which is also embedded in today's experience and lives here in our museum, is the power of the vote.
Absolutely.
Right? Getting young people
Absolutely.
registered to vote and getting them
Absolutely.
involved in civic engagement.
Absolutely.
New York State has a new set of standards that's requiring it to be integrated into curriculum, but the reality is young people need to feel that learning transferred into their lived experience. And so knowing how their vote impacts their daily life is going to be the big way that we galvanize the youth to start using the power of the vote. And so shout out to voter registration. We will have a bunch here at our Sadie's Museum. I'm sure they'll be present at every NAACP function or gathering. It is important. Ask your nieces, your nephew, anyone who's of age. And one fun fact, you're allowed to pre-register at 16. So that when you turn 18, it's an automatic rollover. So you don't have to wait till 18. Do it now, whatever it takes, because there's so much power till this day in the vote. Yeah. And so one of the things that I did look up, and I'm going to read this because I don't live and breathe this yet, although I am a member.
Yes.
So the NAACP focuses their work around 7 major tenets: race and justice, inclusive economy, education, innovation, health and well-being, advocacy and litigation, environmental and climate justice, and next generation leadership.
which of those, if any, and I'm sure that we haven't come to the point yet as a membership where we've decided concretely, but if you had to give your humble vote on the one or two that should take priority over the others for this local Middletown branch, what would that be? So either race and justice, inclusive economy, education, innovation, like what are some of the missions that this branch is gonna be tagged to?
Well, one, I'm not sure if you mentioned, is outreach.
Okay, outreach.
Because we can have all of these committees,
Yeah,
but if we're not reaching out and getting the people to come in and get involved,
yeah,
then we're, the others
don't even
don't
matter.
even matter. Exactly.
And so it makes me
Exactly.
think of one of our slogans here, community is a verb,
Mhm.
right? Otherwise you just live in a neighborhood, so how are we gonna not just get people to come out, but meet them where they are? And so hopefully Sadie's can be a small part of that movement to
Absolutely.
get outreach going.
Absolutely.
You can count us in to do our part to help with that. So what is the mission statement, or vision for the Middletown branch?
Well, our mission is to, I have to make sure I get every bit of it. So
That's right. That's right.
Our mission is to achieve equity, political rights, and social inclusion by advancing policies and practices that expand human and civil rights, eliminate discrimination, and accelerate the well-being, education, and economic security of Black people and all people of color.
Yes.
Okay.
And I love that there's emphasis, although the focus is on doing things to remove the obstacles and inequities for people of color, the call to action is for humans.
Mhm.
Now, last I know, humans come in many colors and forms.
Yeah.
And so making a connection to Sadie's,
Mhm.
although we're Black owned, one of our big tags is we're not Black only. We want all races and ethnicities
Absolutely.
coming in to
Absolutely.
experience the space. And so the NAACP, contrary to maybe popular belief, yes, it's for the advancement of colored people,
Mhm.
but anyone who's about that work of consciousness can participate to move the cause and to shift the needle.
And we have to educate ourselves.
Yes.
And locally, say you live in Middletown, many people don't know who their county legislator is. They don't know who their local
Yeah.
people are.
Local politicians.
But then they vote
Uh-huh.
based on what line the person is in. Yes, that's important, but you have to know
Their
how that
platform.
person voted on issues that are important to you.
Yes.
And all too often people don't know that.
Yes, and go below the surface, right? It's bigger than just a party line.
Exactly.
What's your purpose and
Exactly.
commitment to a bigger
Exactly.
mission? All right, so you heard it here first. One vintage elder point of wisdom: go beyond the party.
Yes.
Don't just look at the party. Look at the person, the platform, their purpose,
Yes.
their mission, their
Yes.
vision.
Yes.
Because sometimes blindly voting in allegiance to a party, you are signing up or co-signing their vote on things that are doing the opposite of bringing equity. All right, very, very cool. And then do you have any formal events coming up or things that you want young people to know? Like, how do you meet currently? Do you have a meeting monthly that happens in person? Are you meeting virtually?
We're meeting virtually right
Okay, okay. How can someone become a member?
now. Well, they can go on the website, which is Middletown
Yep.
What's
NAACP.org.
Well, we have
Yeah. NAACP.org.
But-
Listen, young people, you have Google. Don't play this game. Go and put in membership for NAACP. It's as clear as day. And as someone who recently became a member in 2023 with this chapter, they have a big old button. All you have to do is you have to do 2 scrolls on the phone, 1 scroll on the desktop, and you can see join us. You can't miss it. And it really is 1, 2, 3. I think the annual membership fee is $30.
Yes.
So it's not anything that should break the bank.
If
And if you're
you're-
having issues, come to Sadie's. We'll
And
figure
if
something
you're
out.
younger,
for
you don't
young
even,
people.
it's less than that.
Yes, I think it's like 15 or
$15,
$17.
yes.
Yes, so it's
But,
not.
or you can go directly to our secretary by going on,
NAACP Middletown at gmail.com.
All right, we're gonna
Middletown is first though, right? Middletown, no?
We're gonna put it as
NAACP.
an overlay over the
It's down at the
recording.
bottom.
Okay.
Don't run and
It's
grab
down
a
at the bottom.
pen, we got you, don't worry about it.
And
We're
we
gonna
will have
make
our
sure
own
the
site, too.
information is there,
Yeah.
perfect. And so, in the spirit of the history of the forming of the NAACP, we heard the mission, we know that Middletown is starting a branch. Is there anything that you think is maybe the biggest challenge or challenges that are facing our local Black community? Besides the one you mentioned about knowing your local politicians and how they vote on important issues.
Getting people out who are going to roll up their sleeves and really get out there and talk to people.
Yes,
you
yes.
know. To some, at first, it's scary. It is.
Yeah.
But you have to be strong. And actually, if you're knocking on the door and somebody closes the door, and you go to the next door.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay? Because this is too important
yeah.
in this day and age, in our Orange County, to let this, fade away or die.
Yes, yes.
So if we can get others to really get involved, we could really make a difference in this town.
And
in this county.
I humbly believe it's gonna take an intergenerational force. We can't
Yes,
just have a
yes.
whole bunch of young people that don't know the history, that are trying to press towards the mark. But it also can't be a bunch of our elders or vintage folk. There has to be an element that connects to youth culture if we're really gonna push it forward and get that outreach going. And so this is another opportunity for us to put out a message. We don't care your age, we care about your consciousness and your willingness to roll up sleeves. There's many lanes that you can be in to move this needle
Yeah.
forward and to help support not just the legacy of NAACP, but its forward movement. Anything else you want to share about the Middletown branch and what's happening or what is on the horizon?
Well, we have something happening at our next meeting on Tuesday.
Yes.
February 20th. Our
February
next
20th,
meeting,
okay,
open to the public.
We have,
open to the public.
and Manny
Okay.
has a guest speaker coming.
Yes, that's correct. Shall I?
Yeah.
Okay, can I be seen or? Hi, I'm Manny Toronto. I'm the yes, we have monthly general membership meetings that are open to the public, whether or not you're a member, a paid member of the NAACP. And February 20th, next Tuesday, is our next general membership meeting, and we have a guest speaker. We have actually Matthew Latimer. He is a civil rights lawyer in the Department of Justice. So he's going to talk about basically what is the role of the Department of Justice in enforcing civil rights, civil rights violations and whatnot. You should definitely, check that out.
7 o'clock? 7 o'clock?
Yes, that's correct. At 7 p.m. Tuesday. And if you email us at our email address, right, which will be displayed our email address and .org, we will mail you the Zoom link. And we hope to see. So it should be pretty interesting.
And his title is Conciliation Specialist.
Yes, that's right. Matthew Latimer. He is actually he's an attorney in the Justice Department, and whenever there's some sort of racial incident or that, he's there basically to do conflict resolution. That's one of the things that he does. And he's going to talk about, what the Department of Justice can and cannot do in terms of civil rights.
Well, since it's open to the public, right,
Yes,
you don't have to be a member of NAACP. One of the things I would like to do to ensure that there are at least a few young people in the audience. I don't know if you're aware, New York State requires every high school graduate to take a series of credit-based courses. One is a semester-long course called U.S. Government. And it's around civics, and so I'm going to reach out to some of the districts I work in to see if the teachers of that semester-long course can invite their young people to be present. Because it's bigger than just learning the amendments and the Bill of Rights. It's like hearing from someone who's in the midst of doing the work that impacts us now.
And also, if I may point out, Sadie, and to the audience, to young people out there.
That's
Yeah.
all right.
I make
It's
that
a badge of
mistake.
honor, but I have that
I make this mistake all the time.
I love it.
No, I do want to point out to our young people who are out there viewing that when you go to the NAACP website, NAACP.org, the NAACP does have youth branches, at colleges and whatnot. Okay, so you can also go online, and we will have a youth branch assigned to, to our chapter, and eventually, we hope to maybe, form relationships with SUNY, SUNY Middletown. We have,
Well, look at the ancestors. February 27th,
February-
I'm one of the
February
guest speakers for the Black Student Union at SUNY Orange. They've asked me to do
Wow.
a presentation.
Oh, great.
I'm putting this all up in the presentation.
Oh,
So
great.
we'll talk about that after. But yes, we
Oh.
gotta get the youth involved, and I
Yes.
will fit in the youth branch and the NAACP into what I present to the young people
Excellent.
because it has to be current. NAACP is more than just a fact in the history book. They have
Right,
to
that's
live
correct.
it and be a part of it.
Yes.
And if they're part of that student organization, they should be very interested. And if not, one of my goals is to make them interested.
Right.
Perfect. All right. So one of the other things we do before I open up the floor to the community that's here with us this evening is called Time for 10. And if you've ever watched James Lipton inside the actor studio, it's about 8 to 10 questions, rapid fire. You give the first answer that comes to mind, and you can feel free to say skip. All right, just skip, and you can do the hand gesture too, and say skip it, all right? You ready? All right, so time for 10, here we go. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt? I know you're a retired teacher.
Yeah.
Was there ever another profession you like, in another life, I'm gonna do this?
Well, my bachelor's is actually finance.
Oh, don't say accounting.
Well, the minor was accounting, but the major was finance.
Okay, so you want to go
I
into
took the
finance.
Series 7 and 63 and worked
Oh.
down there. and
Now, did you teach
Wall
math?
Street area. No.
What did you teach?
Oh, mainly third grade.
Okay, so you taught all
Yes.
the content areas.
But I also taught, and I was saying this earlier, at District Council 37, which
Okay.
was a union, and I taught typing on the with the typewriters with the ball.
Oh, so that predates that one. You
No,
know, so
yes,
we have the
that's
typewriter here in
ribbon.
Sadie.
This predates.
That
the
predates
ball.
that. Oh,
Yeah.
the ball. I know what you're talking about
Yeah,
now.
the
Okay.
IBM Selectric. is
Oh,
what
it's
I'm
electric. Oh, so we have a lot of people that know. Okay, so now I'm in school. Got it. All right. So here we go. Would you rather? You're picking this or that. Would you rather read a book, listen to a book, write a book, or be read to? What's your favorite
Be
thing?
read to.
Be read to. All right. Shout out to Read Aloud. Would you rather go back in time and meet your great great grandparents, or forward in time and meet your great great grandchildren?
Oh, that's a tough one. Huh. I think I'd like to go back.
Go back. All right. And we're not asking why, because this is rapid fire. So shout out to going back. Most people pick that too. Do you have a favorite song lyric or a favorite song? We play music in here. I have my grandmother's vinyls. Is there an
There are
artist?
so
or someone?
many, an artist, no,
Oh, no,
not
no.
a few. Gladys Knight,
Huh?
OJ's.
The OJs. I love it.
Regina Bell. I can go on and on.
My grandmother was Sarah Vaughan,
Sweet grandmother.
and Betty
No.
Carter, and Nina Simone.
Oh, yes,
All right,
yes.
so in that
Nina
vicinity.
Simone, yes.
All right, good to know. What's your earliest memory of learning Black history? I know you talked about fun with Dick and Jane, but what's your earliest memory of Black history in school?
Honestly, probably when I taught it.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
because I don't remember it at very early ages.
That says a
But
lot.
remember, I mean, I lived in Harlem, but then we moved to Washington Heights
Okay.
when I was 10, and it was predominantly Jewish, and
Huh.
yes.
Yes.
And
Okay.
I was the only black girl in the class, that sort of thing.
So we have a separate podcast called The Only, and we'd love to have you
Oh,
talk
yeah.
about
Oh,
those
that's
experiences. Yeah. So what rejuvenates you? You're in the midst of NAACP work. You've lived on this earth a long time, seen a lot of things. Sometimes it gets weary in this fight for advocacy. What's something that rejuvenates you?
The fact that we have such, how do we put it? People who, we have different mindsets.
Yeah.
We have different ideas, but we are passionate about getting this thing started.
Okay.
Okay,
And
we
we did.
disagree. You don't see us disagree, but we disagree. But we all are,
You
you
have a
know,
common goal.
have a common goal, and we're sticking with it, and we're not giving up.
And it makes me think of one of my favorite books, Professional Troublemaker. She talks about conflict is not inherently harmful. What's harmful is how you respond to it. So when you're in the midst of a team going towards a mission, you have divergent thinking, that's when some of the greatest solutions can happen. So shout out to the conflict that we don't see that's happening to make the NAACP Middletown branch come back stronger. Okay, so in one word, what is something that you hope revitalizing this branch cultivates for the community?
Honestly, one word is hard.
One sentence.
Well, I would like it to cause the governments, the local governments that I see, to become more diverse.
Okay. Okay. To
I
become more diverse.
want to get so that other points of view are heard, not just one.
Yes. Okay.
You know.
Got it. Who do you consider to be a literary GOAT? Like the greatest of all time, if you had to pick one.
Well, Maya Angelou is one.
Okay, I'm not arguing with that. She's all over this place, stickers, cards, incense, beautiful. And then finish this sentence. There'll come a time when you have to.
Turn the reins over to someone very young who we've molded into a great leader.
Yeah. And this is the last one. If you were writing your memoir, what might your dedication page say?
Well, again, I look to the future. I dedicate this to the ones that come after me and take the baton
And see the work forward for the next
Exactly.
generation. Beautiful, beautiful. Well, we want to open up the floor to our intimate audience, see if there's any questions here. We're going to have the email where you can reach out to not only join February 20th at 7 p.m. open to the public meeting with a special guest. We're going to have the URL where you can become a member, $17 or $15 if you're under some age. It should be if you're under 40.
No, well,
I know it's
actually,
for
no, it's
young
not age, it's based on your.
If you're a student?
Yeah, student.
Okay, so if
basically.
you're a student, well, I'm a lifelong student, but I paid $30. We'll
Okay.
talk about that later.
Oh, lifetime membership is $750.
Oh,
Lifetime membership.
all right. Well, membership is so 1, 2, 3. If you're struggling, come
Yeah.
down to 37 North Street. I'll walk you through it on your phone,
Yeah.
on your laptop.
There you go. There
Any
you
questions here from the community for Ms. Jeter about the Middletown branch, about NAACP, about her call to action as the president of the local branch? Something you would like to see, that you hope for, or just a word of encouragement?
I'll just say, I'm thanking Gail for her guidance and for her endurance of getting this started and sticking with it, her perseverance with this. It's been a lot of work, and
Yes.
Gail has been there in the trenches.
Well, thank you.
She's been there.
But not,
doing
I
the
haven't
work.
been by myself.
No, not by yourself,
Yes.
but you encourage us
Thank you.
and keep us motivated. I know she keeps me motivated because.
Well, she's not allowed to say I'm tired.
Well, listen, that's another note to the young people. When you talk about you tired, forget about it. Come
Yes.
meet Gail Jeter
Yes.
and the work she's doing for the NAACP,
Yes.
and you will shut your mouth
A
real
baby boomer.
quick. Baby boomer.
That's
All right,
right.
baby
Here,
boomer.
here, here.
Baby boomer. Any other word of encouragement, question, inquiry about the NAACP as a whole, membership, or what's on the horizon for Middletown? Yeah, it's time.
Thank you, because in the previous incarnation of the NAACP, we had Wyletta Barbie.
Yes.
And she was always there. When James Rollins didn't have time, when this one didn't have time,
She
we
was
always
there.
had Wyletta. There was somebody there. And that's really what it takes to make it work and to make it viable. So I thank you for that. 7 o'clock on a Tuesday, we have city council meeting, so won't be able to make that. I wish I could. I believe on the 20th, also in the afternoon, that the Mulberry House
Senior Center.
Senior
Okay.
Center is doing a Black History Month celebration. So I'm not
Okay.
sure what that involves, but
Okay.
That's my, sorry.
No worries. Okay. We live in a real world. No worries. And you wanted to say something else?
Actually, I want to ask Chris, we record our meetings, so maybe at some point we'll be able to make it available. You can't,
Yeah, you
but
wanna
at some
see it
point in the
live,
future
but
we'll
you
be
can
able to do that. We don't have that capability now, but hopefully maybe in the future we'll be able to do that.
Okay. And do you live in Middletown?
I live in Crawford.
Okay. So I was like, well, I see you at Target maybe or ShopRite?
No.
Maybe I'll see you out there.
ShopRite.
Yeah. Well, we'll run into each other if not virtually in person. I can't thank you enough. I didn't follow the right protocols. I didn't know, but now I know. And trying to not only coordinate today, but in advertising for today's experience. And like my sweatshirt says, drink water, love hard, fight racism. In that
Right.
order, you gotta be
Nice.
hydrated
Right.
to fight.
Love it.
And
Absolutely.
we are just so excited for any way that Sadie's can lean a hand. Our mantra is rejuvenate, cultivate, and educate. And whatever we can do to not only push the needle forward, but to collaborate with NAACP, you can count us in.
Thank you so much.
And don't worry about
That's
your
a
phone. It's
reminder
a
to
21st
get my
century.
daughter medicine.
Oh, okay, all right, well, we're here for it. I'm sure everyone's phone will start ringing soon. You just experienced a 7th episode of Behind the Bookstore. Special thanks to the cabinet of the Middletown branch of the NAACP, Mr. Kleiner, our Bookseum tribe members who are here in the audience, and all who are watching. Remember, community is a verb. Get out, get involved, and as Sister Jeter said, roll up your sleeves.
That's
Work
right.
cannot be done in a passive lane.
Right.
We're more than a bookstore. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.